Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and to today's video where we are going to be having a look at the new e.l.f. Retro Paradise palette. I think it just came out like a week or so ago. I was in Superdrug yesterday and I saw it and I decided to go ahead and pick it up and give it a try. So here's what it looks like. Okay, so quite a fun, it's not quite a rainbow kind of color story, but we have a lot of these kind of neutral kind of colors on this side and then some bright pops of color over on this side. I think it definitely does have like a bit of like a retro-y kind of feel, especially like this corner, like right here. That makes me think very like 70s kind of style. So what we're going to go ahead and do is I am going to show you some swatches of these and then we'll go ahead and try a look and see what we think. Is this formula in this palette as good as like the little mini e.l.f. What are they? These guys. As these little bite-sized palettes, which are actually really, really good, like surprisingly good. So yeah, so let's go ahead and see what it's like. For those of you who are new here, hi, I'm Carolyn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Mostly I do makeup reviews, but also some get ready with me style videos, talking about products that I do or don't like. So it's a typical beauty makeup-y kind of channel. I'm by no means a makeup artist. I just enjoy playing with makeup. Anyway, so let's go ahead and have a closer look at this and then we'll do some swatches. So yeah, it's quite an interesting color story. It's a bit different. All right, let's just go ahead and swatch them live. I had thought about like including in some like pre-done swatches, but I quite like live swatching. I think it gives like an immediate idea about like the texture and the kind of opacity of the shades. So let me just grab some makeup wipes and let's go ahead and start on that. Okay, let's go ahead and start with the top row. I'm just scooting over, so we'll go on the back of my arm here. So I'll do one row at a time, then clean my arm, and then we'll go through. So we have Canvas, Sandy Bum, Rise and Shine, and Spiced. Those are going to be the first 4 colors. They have quite a nice texture putting the hand into it. So that is Canvas, Sandy Bum, whatever that one's called, Rise and Shine. Okay, and that one was Spiced. Let me go into it with my index finger, because sometimes I think when you try and do pinky swatches, you can't get that same kind of color opacity. Let me just smooth that one out. Okay, those are the first 4. You can't see Canvas because essentially it's the same shade as my skin. Okay, and the last 2 of that first row is Paraiso, which is this shimmery gold one, and Coconut, which is a dark brown. Ooh, okay. So that's Paradiso here, or I want to say Paradiso, but it's not, Paraiso. It's actually kind of a duochrome kind of color. There's some pink undertones in it. It's really pretty. Coconut is a pretty standard kind of brown. I hope you can see that all I've done is one pass over these and they're not like hugely pigmented, but I think once we try them on the eye, I bet you we're going to get a little bit more kind of intensity of color there. Okay, so that's the first row. Okay, so the second row we have Dijon, which is a mustard color, Sea Salt, kind of a sparkly iridescent, Fuego. Let's just do 3 fingers at a time, that way I don't have to try this pinky guy out. Fuego is this kind of orangey color there. So that's Dijon, Sea Salt, and then Fuego. Okay, those are the first 3 of that row. And then the next ones are Sip Sip, which is a light blue, Bahamar, which is a kind of almost pastel green, and then Tropicana, which is kind of like a pastel lavender. Just get in there a little bit more. All right, these two last ones are really light, like not a lot of pigmentation at all. The shimmers are nice. These shimmers are pretty good. So yeah, the sparkly blue one is really pretty. Okay, so that's the second row. Kind of, again, lacking in pigmentation, but we'll see how it does when it's actually on the eye. Okay, and the last row, so we have Caliente, which is a bright orangey brown, Cacao, dark brown, and Fortuna, which is just like one of those kind of standard bronzy kind of colors. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right, so this bottom row is definitely already a bit more pigmented than some of the upper rows. The last three is Royal, which is a navy. Disco. Ooh, that's a duochrome. It looks like it's purple, but it actually has like a really cool like blue shift to it. And then Nightlife, which looks like it'll be a black. Let's see what it actually looks like swatched out. Okay, that navy looks nice. Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, it's just a black. Okay. So this one you can see is a little bit patchy looking, but you know, blues can be quite difficult to make, so let's just have a look at those. That's pretty. I can see this, like these ones right here, these four, really having that like retro kind of feel to it, especially the navy and the orange. Like somehow that feels very, very retro, especially if we're talking about like 60s, 70s kind of retro colors. So, okay, so that's the last row. And just to say, just kind of in the swatching, there's not a lot of like kick up in the pan or anything yet, so we'll see what it looks like once we actually get some brushes into it. Okay, so I'm going to zoom you in a little bit and we will do a look together and see what this palette is like. All right, just really quickly, I'm going to go ahead and prime my eyes using the Hourglass Veil Primer. I'm still testing this out. I've been testing it for about a week and a half now, almost 2 weeks, and so far I'm really impressed with it, but I'm going to keep on going because, you know, different eyeshadows, different formulas will interact with primers a little bit differently, so. Okay, so what colors are we gonna do? I think that's key. So I went with this yellow kind of top here, yellow. This is as retro as I could find in my closet. It's pretty much almost all black. So I could go with something that's like yellowy tone, but I'm thinking maybe some browns and reds and yellows, like all together could be good. I really want to try this one. This kind of duochromy gold pink champagne-y thing on the lid. Like that's the one I really want to, that got my interest. But then the rest of them, I actually really like this corner here. Maybe we'll do these ones, these three. So we'll try 3 mattes and then we'll try one of the shimmer formulas, and I think then we'll get a good kind of impression about that. And also some of these were more or less pigmented, so I think that it sounds like a reasonable idea to me. Okay, so I am just using my ColourPop brushes. So this is an E2. It's just a big fluffy brush. There is, putting the brush into the pan, quite a lot of kick up. So just let's see how it goes, and let's see what this looks like when we go on a little bit more. So I'm just trying to just gently and lightly start patting it in. I don't want it to be too overwhelmingly yellow to start with, and I also want to leave some space of a tacky base a little bit for the other colors to stick to. So I'm just kind of placing it where I want the yellow to start, and just going to slowly kind of build that up. As you can see, I have another yellow that's really similar to this, I think in the Fenty Snap Shadows number 7. If you guys have that one, I really liked it, and actually these colors remind me really strongly of that palette, and that yellow is much more vibrant and much more pigmented than this one is. So okay, now I've gotten quite a bit on there, so I'm just gonna try and buff it out a little bit, especially up towards the brow bone. I don't have a huge amount of lid space. I have not been blessed to be able to do like 10 colors in my lids. I have pretty small space up in here. So I do tend to take this lightest color up as far as it'll go, because I want it to be able to show once my eyes are open, because I have quite hooded eyes, and I want it to be able to show above that crease. Okay, so it's really, it's not very pigmented, which is fine. Like, not everything has to be like intensely pigmented, but yeah, just that's where we are to start. So I'm going into another ColourPop. This is an E1 brush. Sorry, it looks a little dirty. Okay, one thing to notice though is I'm not getting any fallout to start with, so that's good to start with. I'm going to use a slightly smaller brush and go into the Caliente shade, which is the orange. And I'm going to try and do it kind of like here on this part of the lid. Ooh, okay. That's not bad. Let's start to buff it a little bit and see what happens. Okay. That one's not bad. Let's see what happens on this side. That's the trick. Can we get it to do the same thing on both sides? Or is it a fluke, a one-sided fluke? Okay, I think the pigmentation on that one is really quite nice. I'm just gonna put a little bit more here to start the transition into that kind of grungy green brown color that we're gonna go into next. Okay. Sticking with the color prop brushes, this is an E9, just a slightly smaller, more tapered brush. And we're gonna go into Cacao, which in the pan, it has like a green hint to it, but then when I put it on this, when I swatched it, it definitely just looked like a brown. So let's see what it looks like here. I am trying to be really careful, so if you see me like just being like super delicate touching, it's because I've already done my under eye makeup. I've done the whole rest of my face, obviously, and I don't really want to have a lot of fallout, so I think going carefully and slowly can help with that. I'm usually, when I do my eyeshadow, I always rush it. Like I just want to go too quickly, I think, with it, so that's why I'm going pretty slow here. Okay. It's definitely more brown than I thought it would be. I'm just going to go back into the Caliente and just kind of beef up the orangey color here. Managed to get a decent looking kind of a winged kind of thing there. Let me go back into the Dijon color and again kind of buff this area out. Kind of right there at the end, so it's not quite such a sharp line. Okay, I'm just going to try and do the same with the other side. Okay, so this side didn't turn out as pretty as this one did, but that's kind of the way of it. Once I put some eyeliner on, I think it won't be that terribly noticeable. So I think it looks okay. It's really soft. These colors don't have like a huge amount of pigment to them. They are definitely not strongly pigmented, and I do have quite a bit of kind of, what's the right word? I do have quite a bit of fallout here in the pan, and I do want to note that they feel very powdery. So they're looking powdery and they feel like they kind of just fall apart a little bit. And then, I mean, they look fine on the eye. That's not really an issue. It's more that they're really subtle, so it's very powdery, fine material that doesn't leave a lot of impact on the eye, is where I'm trying to go with that. So I'm going to use a small, kind of very dense little packing brush like this to try the shimmer shade here on the inner part. Let me just try something on. Okay, I think what I'm going to do instead is I think I'm going to go in. Both of them are here, yeah, that's definitely. I'm going to go in with Fortuna instead, and then I might put Paraiso, sorry, that's somehow a hard word to say, Paraiso kind of towards this most inner corner a little bit, so that's kind of my plan, because this Fortuna one is quite nice to touch. See that? This one is really pretty. I mean, I have plenty of shadows like this though, so it's not really anything unique or special. That orange shade is kind of disappearing on this side, so I'm just gonna try and pack it on again. All right, and let's try this kind of duochrome Paraiso shade on this very inner bit here. Just gonna bring it up a little bit as well. It's kind of like a glittery gold champagne color. Just to give a little bit more light in that center part. It's a pretty color, but there's almost like no base to it, so it's not hugely impactful. Just going to take a small pencil brush. I'm going to go in with sea salt, which is that kind of white, slightly iridescent color. I'm just going to try it here on the inner corner a little bit to try and brighten this up. That's quite chunky. Okay, let me go ahead and do mascara and eyeliner, and we will be right back. Alright guys, so this is the final look with the eyeliner and everything on. Okay, so I don't think I like this palette very much, and let me just tell you why. Just experiencing this, and kind of thinking back to those little mini palettes that they've done, which were really of a very, very good quality and really pigmented. They worked really well. There's no issues with them. They go on fine. So these are not difficult to work with. They're pretty easy shadows. They're very smooth. They feel nice. But what we have with the mattes is that they're very powdery. And what that means, at least based on just this one look with this, right, is that they're gonna maybe be a bit patchy in places depending on the primer that you use. They could come off very easily, and also third, you're just not gonna get a really intense, vibrant look considering how vibrant the colors kind of look in the pan here. So that's one. The shadows themselves, like I said, they're powdery, so you get lots of fallout in the pan. With the mattes, I didn't have almost any fallout on the eyes, but I was being really, really careful to not have any. So you just have to be careful working with them. Problem two is the shimmers. So the shimmers, lots of fallout. I didn't realize it really, but there was quite a bit underneath the eyes. The Fortuna shade is nice. It's fine. Nothing special. It's just a standard shimmer shade. Nothing good. Nothing good. Nothing particular about that one. Paraiso, whatever it's called. That one, my problem is that there was no base really under it, and it just doesn't really show up. It's not that, again, vibrant. It's very dull looking in a way, even though it's sparkly. Then I tried the sea salt color in my inner eye, and it lived up to its name. It looked like salt in that it was very chunky and very crystally looking. So you can smooth it out. So I think if you tried it for a lid and kind of like smoothed it all the way off, but it gets like it has a bit of a chunky kind of consistency. So I think with just this one look, I've gotten a pretty good bead on 3 different formulas in this palette. And so from that perspective, I don't think it's going to be a really good investment. It's not that expensive. It's only £14 here in the UK, so it's not like it's a huge expense, but I don't really think I'm going to be reaching for this one particularly much. I think the e.l.f. I went and bought more. I went and bought more of them, but I think these little bite-sized guys are better. They don't have some of the same colors in here. They're definitely more on the neutral side, except for the green, the jalapeno one. But there's just, this is just a bit lacking, okay? And I think there's better products from e.l.f. And I think it's a bit frustrating to have such a difference in quality between really similar products. I mean, they're both, this is an eyeshadow, this is an eyeshadow. Why is the quality so different? So anyway, that's my kind of opinion on this. If you don't mind it, and I think some of the colors you probably maybe would have some better success with, some of the shimmers I think will work out fine. But for me, it's just not the best. So I might use it a bit more just to really cement my feelings with it, but I don't think it's one I'm going to be reaching for a huge amount. Also to say, I have been also wearing during this thing the e.l.f. Retro Paradise liner in Dream On lip gloss. And as a lip gloss, it's fine. It's quite a strong scent, like a fruit punchy kind of scent, but it's supposed to be really sparkly, but I don't really have any, it didn't really put any sparkles because I just used my Nabla Aero 1, which is kind of just a nude liner. And I thought this might add a little bit of like pink sheen to it, a bit of sparkle, but it really didn't. So, but it's fine. It's definitely glossy. It's just going to be really very sheer. So, alright guys, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it at least mildly interesting. And yeah, if you did like it, you could hit the like button down below. If you want to come back and hang out with me again, you could hit the subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. It's really cool watching my channel grow, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So, alright guys, take care of yourselves, have a really lovely day, and we will see you in my next one. Bye bye.